Hey everybody, it's TotalGamerJunkie. I want to welcome you all back to my channel. So, The Life is Strange TikTok has just released a new scene with Amanda and Max. It goes for about 40 seconds, and I'm here to share with you everything I saw, everything I noticed, and all the theories that I have after seeing this clip. Now, before we jump into this, I'm going to play the whole clip so you all can see it for yourselves, and then we're going to break it down scene by scene.
So hey, you were gonna say something before all that.
I gotta know what the deal is with the pickup lines.
My buddy Henry and I were co-headlining a comedy night.
Holy shit, you do comedies? And this is the first I'm hearing about it? Sorry. Listening quietly, please proceed. So, you're a Misery Cult fan?
For sure. So cool that you know them.
Yeah, they're great. The, guitar solos, the vocals.
So, you've never heard of them?
Fuck. Busted. Don't hate me, please.
Now let's start with a question that to me is the most obvious. When does this new scene take place? Well, as you can see in this video here, I have compiled all the scenes that I believe to take place in this cafe with Max, Amanda and Sophie. And I believe the scene that we just saw takes place after Max goes to approach Amanda and you see Sophie sitting at the table giving Max the thumbs up. And then I believe Max and Sophie will have that conversation, and if you're doing a playthrough where you want to engage with a romance with Sophie, you'll have to do it here. And I plan to go into this more in the next screenshot, but I do think this moment is when we as players get the option, okay, if we want to romance Amanda, we'll get the option to do so, because you'll see at the very end, Amanda writes something on a piece of paper, we're going to cover that as well, and hands it to Max, and the two of them share a smile. So take a look at the way Amanda's fiddling with her fingers in the left scene and on the right. Now, the one on the left is the new scene, and this is when she says to Max, there's something you wanted to tell me before. I think that this was at the table, because you see in both instances here, oops, hit my mic. In both instances here, she appears to be somewhat nervous. Perhaps she was working up the courage to ask Max out on a date, and something happened, like maybe her boss called her, said like she's got to get back to work, or maybe she is doing floor work and she constantly has to move around delivering drinks and food to the customers there, because we do see her behind the register, but maybe but I do believe that that's going to happen towards the very end. This is after Max and Sophie have talk about who Chloe is and what she meant to Max. So this could be, I theorized this before, perhaps, as I said, this Amanda was maybe going to see if Max was single or tried to ask her out on a date, and she gets called away. Then later, after the conversation with Sophie about Chloe, Max can approach her, and we get the scene on the left, and maybe on the scene on the right, Max is going to turn her down or mention something else about Chloe, like, well, which would make sense if the conversation about Chloe hadn't been brought up yet by Sophie. So let's just say Max would have said something like, maybe try to say, oh, I'm not going to go to something, or I'm not interested in that, or whatnot. And then that's how the conversation gets brought up again in this new scene, where Amanda asks, you were gonna say something before? The next scene, we see that the video splits into two, and we see up the top choice A, and at the bottom choice B. Now, two things immediately stuck out to me when I saw this. The first was that choice A and choice B is blue and red, which could this be hinting at something involving the moon, perhaps? If you remember, that the developers had said that we can use information from one of the timelines and use it on the same person in another timeline. Now, I don't think this will happen yet, because I don't think Max is going to get her powers yet, because we see that when Sophie brings up Chloe, she asks Max who she is. There's a little blue moon icon in the dialogue. So that those icons should tell us as players what timeline we're in when we're making choices. Because when the moment we see Sophie alive, we see that it's a red moon in the dialogue options. Well, not in, but around, you get what I mean. And speaking of dialogue options, there is none, we don't see any. Now why is that? I think that it's because if we say to Sophie that our Max is in a relationship with Chloe, they're more than friends, then this will be a dialogue option that we tell Amanda, and we can say to her, I have a girlfriend, so I'm sorry I'm not interested in you. And this conversation could come up because I think I don't know exactly what they're saying, but it looks like Safi from that video I showed you earlier, with all the clips put together, she's saying to Max, you know, Amanda's got the hots for you, right? And Max is giving this look like, what? No, she doesn't. And so if we tell Safi that our Max is in a relationship, then that dialogue option will appear, and Max will have to tell Amanda, okay, so I like you, Amanda, you're a nice person, but I already have someone, I'm in a relationship, so no thank you. And I think it'd be interesting, especially even if they put this out very early on, if you're not in a relationship with Chloe, you can tell Amanda, sorry, but I'm not interested. Because I'm curious to know if that will immediately make the romance go cold turkey, just cut it off. Because with Warren, there was repeated attempts at him trying to get Max to go with him to the drive-thru. And in episode 2, we can make that choice. Okay, yes or no, I don't want to go to the movies. But I used to joke, like, get out of here, Warren, you're a freaking stalker. Warren's a pretty cool character. I like him. He's one of my favorites in Life is Strange 1. But I always found it weird how if you don't decide to pursue Warren in a romance, then Max will have the option to kiss him in episode 5 before she travels back in time and saves Chloe's life. Now, granted, you can make it like, doomsday, end of the world, I guess I can understand that. But for me, it's more realistic in that scenario for Max to hug Warren rather than kiss him if she's not interested in him at all. I also want to bring something else up with this scene. It feels like they've cut something out, as I mentioned with the Chloe stuff, because when she talks, it's like there was something you were going to say, and then it shows the dialogues for option A and option B. I feel like what's happened is Deck 9 has deliberately cut and edited this scene, so perhaps what I'm thinking is maybe Max, regardless of what your ending is, turns her down. Or even so, when Max is talking, like when we see dialogue option A and option B, maybe after you're done talking to her, then this conversation starts. But I don't know, it's a bit tricky. I'm gonna try and piece it together in my head, go over it, see if I can figure it out, and then I'll let you all know in a post, or maybe I'll make another video. The next scene is choice A, and I picked up a few things from this I found very interesting. And one of the interesting things is that Max is surprised that Amanda does comedy, which is very weird because if you look at the reveal trailer, like the 18 minutes of the gameplay from the stream, my mistake, when Max takes a picture of Moses and she decides to post it, you'll see that not only does she have Amanda's contact information, but Amanda comedy on there as well. So this to me confirms that this scene where Sophie dies, this happens later in the game. So what I think's happening is the first scene is Max is going to wake up, she's going to look in her wallet at the photo of Chloe, and depending on what ending you chose, the photo is going to be different. Then it's going to be Sophie and Max at the little pub or whatever it is, and then it's all going to slowly lead to this. It also makes me wonder whether or not Max has Amanda's number at all, because if you remember, I made that video about what scenes I think Max, Sophie, and Amanda go in order of the place they're at, and I always thought that the ending scene was Amanda giving Max her phone number, but maybe Max already has her phone number, and Sophie's given her like a code to a comedy stream or something. I don't know. The number makes more sense, but it'd be interesting to see like what happens if you don't do it. Like if Max turns down Amanda, does that mean that Max will still have her number, or will the number not be in the contacts anymore? Maybe not until later in the game when Max goes to the new timeline, or maybe she'll get it from Amanda in the timeline where Sophie's dead. Sophie also explains that she's doing this comedy with a guy called Henry. Now, I have a pretty good, I don't have a good idea, but I'm just gonna guess. I think Henry is this mysterious guy that we saw once before in one of the TikTok videos. We only see him once. It's like we don't know anything about him. He's the guy talking to Sophie at the table. Could be him, I'm not too sure. But the second I find out, I'll let you all know. Now, before I move on to choice B, I want to bring up one last thing. If you see in the choice A screenshot, we can see this little microphone in the background, and as Amanda mentioned, she and Henry do that headlining for that stand-up comedy. That's what the bad pickup lines are. And in this, I think what happens if Max does decide to go on a date with Sophie, maybe they go back to the comedy club, and maybe because we know Max, like we don't know why she says it, but she says the mosh pit meme from the first game. So maybe they might do something there up on stage just to have a good time. Like maybe they just start watching people, and then eventually maybe Amanda convinces Max to go on stage and the two of them do their own bit. I'm not too sure. But then again, clothing, this might be a entirely different scene with Max and Amanda in the mosh pit meme, because we've seen in the game that if you remember what Max is wearing when Sophie dies, if you see in another shot, Max is wearing that same outfit when Sophie saves her from something that's gonna crush the two of them. So it could be that we're seeing after Sophie's death, but the developers have dressed Max in the same clothes just so we don't know, so that they trick us into thinking, okay, these scenes are connected, you know, when they're actually different parts of the story. Now, I don't have much to say about choice B except this question that Max can ask Amanda. She mentions a band, and Amanda is surprised that Max knows him, and Max pretends to know him, and Amanda ends up calling her out on her bullshit. How did Max know that Amanda liked this band? Well, I think when we go to talk to Sophie, when we go to talk to Amanda, you remember that scene where Sophie's just sitting at the table, she gives Max a thumbs up. I think that it's not going to be a cutscene. We have to directly walk over to Amanda, and who knows, maybe we can talk to other people and ask about Amanda, and we can get this new information about her, and then we can bring it up. And it would also help us. For example, we know that when you travel between timelines, you can learn information from a character from one timeline and use it against them in another timeline, as you know, to say, okay, I know you're lying about this, or you can try to appeal to them, because a lot of the powers that Max has in this game, they're just evolved versions of a rewind. Because Life is Strange 1, you rewind time after a dialogue conversation, and you can use new bits of information against those people that you've conversed with. So who's to say that we can't do this with the others? The developer said we can, so we can. But yeah, I don't really have much to talk about with this dialogue. So anyways, that's the end of this video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and please let me know in the comments below what your theories are. Do you have any idea when these scenes may or may not take place? And as always, you know, feel free to share your theories, leave a like, subscribe, and don't be afraid to post your ideas, you know. Let me know, do you think I'm right, do you think I'm wrong? I love hearing from you all, even if I don't respond to you. But I don't normally say it, but I do want to thank you for everyone supporting me with this Life is Strange content. This is TotalGamerJunkie, signing off.